Welcome back, guys. This is Maverick here with another episode of ReZero, the director's cut. So, we're on episode 9 now, which should be the episode 16 and 17 of the original television anime. Last episode, we had a great ending there. Sure, you could say that it was sad, it was tragic, it was heart-wrenching, whatever you want to call it, right? But perhaps most importantly, it was effing amazing, right? I don't really care if it's more on the good side or on the bad side, as long as it does something brilliantly. I think that is justification enough to watch it. But anyways, I'll spare you guys the ramble. You guys can just watch the last video. What I really am going to say here, though, is I think with last episode, it's quite clear what Subaru has to do going forward, right? He needs to swallow his ego, swallow his pride, and help Emilia make friends, not enemies. He's going to need to enlist the help of many others in order to get him and all the others safely out of the current predicament and break this current cycle of fate, or whatever you want to call it, right? Now, with that being said, is he going to be able to do that in this episode? Sure, at the end of last one, we saw Subaru with his determined eyes, fire in his eyes, and all that. However, at this junction, at this point, I'm not entirely sure if that's a good thing yet. If he's still, having the mindset of I'm the only one that can do anything, and I need to, go all rambled there and arrive on a scene and save everyone. That's not gonna work, right? So, has he actually learned his lesson? Has he figured out what he needs to do? Well, let's jump into it and all right, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Ugh, my nose is acting up. I think Wilhelm is definitely someone who needs to be helping Subaru. Or you. So, fellow. Oh, opening. I should have guessed. Huh. So what is he gonna ask him, right? Train me? Help me? Who knows? By the way, I have to give a quick shout out to all you guys. You're certainly, a lot of you guys are commenting and whatnot, and that's fantastic. But I think most importantly, you guys are having the right balance of adding additional information and adding your own thoughts. How you originally was feeling whilst you were watching the specific episode, and avoiding spoilers as well. So, big shout out to you guys as well. Paradisus Paradoxon. Paradisus. That is such a hard song to pronounce. Alright, whatever. Oh, just straight out say it? And yeah, he's enlisting their help, right? Now he needs to convince them. Yeah. That was just a contract. Of course. Subaru can't really make that decision, can he? Yeah, it's just gonna die anyways. Yeah. What? Hmm. I mean, I guess he's a little bit more motive. So I was saying the like his eyes at the end of last episode definitely wasn't particularly of use. Consider it. I mean, I said that he needs to solve his ego and pride, but not definitely not like this. He's gonna stop at the last moment. Alright, what now, Subaru? Oh, other hero? The other one? And I certainly hope Subaru is taking all this into. See, you need to learn, dude. Hmm. What is? Who are all the people in the background? They're all in uniform. Oh, this is all her army? When things move, yeah. Money moves as well. I knew it. Her? Okay. Oh, he just inadvertently gave up a lot of information. Yeah. It's a game of politics, dude. Are you learning all of this, Subaru? They're giving you very valuable information. Dude, you only now noticed? normally, normally these are things that you learn as you grow in life, but you don't have do-overs, right? Just like Anastasia said. Fortunately for Subaru, he's able to do things again. Redo them, if you will. Oh, it's this dude. Well, this is kind of important. All right. What? It still has. Yeah. You'd think that it wouldn't have battery anymore. Ah, because they left so early, they don't actually meet the fog? Hmm. What the? What the hell? Oh, the white whale? Alright, so that's what caused the fog. I guess they were just in time to meet it. Oh, he's not dead yet, so... Wait, so does that mean Otto... Why were their memories changed or somewhat? Hmm. Alright, so I guess we're hunting Moby Dick now. Damn. What? It can't be that simple, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be feared so much. She's gonna sacrifice herself. Aw, poor Rem. Damn. Uh, Master Swordswoman. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely something related with the Wilhelm, right? I think he was called the what? Demon Swordmaster? Or whatnot? So probably that swordswoman had some sort of relation with Wilhelm. What? It, so the fog makes people forget each other? It's probably following Subaru. Or is it following after his cell phone? Yeah, it's Subaru. Damn. I mean, certainly quite the logical conclusion, but damn. Alright. What's gonna happen here? Oh, ah, the cult. I wonder what it's thinking right now. Because if the cult has already gotten auto, the but Remdo. Alright, now he's got a lot of explaining to do. Holy shit, this is not gonna be good. Huh? Wait, but Rem is able to. I mean, Rem should be able to like link with Rim, right? Right on the money. What? How does that work? Hmm. What the hell? Oh, Leah? Shouldn't you like knock first, dude? They're still not. Oh, how's that work? How's that work for you so far? Is that gonna work? Yeah, I don't think this is quite something that you can just overcome your fear of, or something. The hell? So it just, huh? It doesn't just work on hers. You're quite calm about this entire situation. Sending him away? What? What the hell is happening right now? I mean, I've been. I mean, I'm really just been too shocked to say anything because I'm afraid I'm going to miss something very important. But Oh, hey guys. Hey dude, welcome back. Ordeal. Those were the invisible hands that you used to kill Grim. Because you're both marked by the witch. But why wasn't he able to see it in the first place? Oswell? No. The witch? Or no. Oh, actually, Huck? Yeah. Okay. So that was the guy from. Oh. But that was the one from. Ah, that was the one who was talking about it in the last episode. Both times that Subaru went to the mansion. Holy shit! A lot of stuff happened here. And this is quite a new kind of ending here, so let me take a look real fast. So I guess this is sort of letting us know what happened in the meantime with Milia? Or maybe before she met Subaru. Wow, a lot. Damn. Man, 2 episodes in a row. The development really has been something that I really can't. I actually can't predict things that are happening next. It's like coming out of absolutely nowhere. Alright, see you guys after this. Well, guys, it just keeps getting better and better. So now we have the revelation that apparently the witch's curse on Subaru that can also work on others as well, right? That certainly came as a surprise. Although I'm not quite sure if it's all others or just Amelia specifically, because even though one of my theories has already been debunked from last episode, I still get the feeling that the witch and Amelia is related somehow, right? I feel like the coincidences there are too big to ignore. But at least it's nice to know that this curse can actually work on other people as well. So something to keep in mind. It's not really something that Subaru can brute force his way through. Not to mention, like, even if he did die, right? And how would that work? You could tell, like, let's even say how, for instance, that thing wouldn't really be able to work on any others, right? All he's gonna do is really just suicide himself, and that's not going to help change anything, right? You suicide, and then you're back in the same place again. There's really no there's no real way for him to tell others about his ability. Although I think I mentioned even back in episode 2 or 3 or something, that I would like him to sort of test out the limits of this curse, if you will. So how far can he go? How far can he say or hint at things without actually activating? Right? Although yeah, we'll see in the future. And then, if not just that, we also have another situation on our hands. What with the white whale and the disappearing memories, being able to completely erase a person's presence. Like, what kind of entity are we dealing with here, right? Like, that is ridiculous, to be honest. Not quite sure if it's just related to the white whale or if there's other things related to it. Maybe the fog, although I think the fog and the white whale are sort of synonymous with each other. So I guess that would be the highest percentage guess right now, that they need to avoid the white whale, or at least have a way to deal with it to avoid this kind of situation. And then, of course, we also have the revelation at the end. So that voice was actually Puck, right? So in the last episode, both times that Subaru returned to the mansion with someone telling him that he was too late, it was actually Puck, right? Not the witch. So, like I said, that sort of debunked my theory that maybe the witch is related with Emilia somehow and is actually utilizing Subaru's ability to a certain extent. But like I said, I'm still not entirely convinced that these two being so similar, I mean, the witch and Emilia, is just a coincidence. There's definitely something fishy about that entire situation. So those were just the big things, right? And what can I say? When it rains, it pours, doesn't it? However, I gotta say, I really love the complexity of the problems that are being thrown at Subaru right now that is being shown in the series. I think you guys can tell by now that I'm not particularly sympathetic towards Subaru, and it's not just a case of him, the way he acts and all that, but I really do enjoy this kind of series that makes it hard on the protagonist, so they actually need to work hard to solve all these problems. And it's quite fun as well, right? All these situations layered on top of each other. Sure, from Subaru's point of view, he must be the most unluckiest guy in the world. From a viewer's point of view, from my point of view, I just view this as this super interesting and complex puzzle that we're supposed to solve, right? Especially taking into account that Subaru has this sort of resetting ability. It's like how can I put it? It's like those platformer games that are very popular right now. The ones where you touch anything and you die instantly, and you gotta just bash your head against the wall, just do it again and again and again and again in order to progress through the levels. It kind of feels like that. So it is I mean, sure, from a humane perspective, it's not really good on Subaru's mental health. From a viewer perspective, though, I am loving it. And speaking of Subaru, right, so obviously we gotta talk about him and his development, or lack thereof, in this episode as well. Now, as much as I do want to facepalm him for his behavior at the beginning of this episode, how he approached the various different factions and whatnot, and in a very childish and a very immature way, I'm actually not going to fault him too much for that. And the reason for this is, like, let's be real here. Subaru, at his core, he's just a kid, right? And not only just a kid, before he came here, he was really basically a shut-in meat, right? Though maybe not to the extent where he never steps outside his home. We had conclusions to that in the first episode. He still can have basic conversation with people. He still works out, keeps himself healthy, and so on and so forth. But he definitely isn't someone who has good communication skills, right? I would say he falls more towards the bad end of the spectrum. And I think by now we can all agree that Subaru is not exactly the brightest tool in the shed, right? So he has all these negatives going for him. So I don't really think it's feasible to expect him to actually perform well for his first run through this entire thing, right? However, the thing with Subaru is he has this ability to redo things, to return by death, to save load, whatever you want to call it, right? he can learn from these mistakes. And I think, if anything else, that is probably the biggest thing that he needs to learn right now, right? I already made the statement last episode that really I feel like Subaru's role in this story here, we're definitely not going to be seeing him become like the world's strongest warrior or the best magic user or something like that. No, it's quite clear that he's not going to have an affinity toward that. He's not going to have any super OP powers like that actually can help in battle, right? However, what he can do is help Emilia and others avoid wrong decisions, and what better way to utilize that than to make friends and befriend enemies, right? So as long as he can learn from these mistakes, I already said the best thing he could do is go around to all the different factions and actually recruit them to be at least allies in a realist sense, right? So give and take, if you will. Now, definitely, I'm not, even though I told him to swallow his ego and pride, definitely not to the extent that what happened in this episode either. And the thing here is that, he has no excuses right now, because every single one of them, every single one of these candidates actually gave him very valuable info on how he is supposed to conduct his negotiations, right? They all gave him their tendencies, what they value, what they really want. And ultimately, it's up to Subaru himself to figure it out, which I'm sure he'll get there sometime, right? Because after all, he's got all the chances, all the time in the world. And just for fun of it, let's think about it a little bit, right? So Kurushu, that's the first one. That's the first candidate that Subaru approached, right? So, obviously, for one thing though, one general thing through all these three is I feel like Subaru definitely needs to act in a dignified manner if he is representing Emilia in her stead and whatnot. He needs to conduct himself in a way that will cause the others to respect him, because if they don't respect him, that means they are not going to respect Emilia as well. That's just the nature of things, right? When you're there, you're on behalf of the person that you're representing. But anyways, in Kurushu's sense, I'm guessing the best way to entice her would be to promise her that they will lend her their power in the future once they get through the situation, right? Because just dropping out of the candidacy, she could accomplish the same goals by literally doing nothing. As she said, as much, right? That's literally her life. The lives of Emilia. What does that matter to Kurushu? They have their own objectives. They have their own goals. What do they care about a rival, right? And so the way that I'm looking at it, they definitely are on to something, right? They want to do something. They, at least Kurushu definitely strikes me as someone who wants to do something for the country as well. It seems that she is trying to get things going in a way. So I think promising her to lend their, like, if you help us right now, and we survive this situation, then in the future we will be indebted to you. Maybe we can't drop out of the candidacy, but if you have a particular need for our services, maybe we can use that an IOU in exchange, which of course would definitely be more valuable to, well, that depends, right? But obviously they need to prove that they are also going to be valuable allies in the future as well to Kurushu. That's how I think will crack her. For the second candidate, Prishra, her case is a little bit more harder to gauge. I think she just wants to make things interesting. If I would give a piece of advice to Subaru, is that too quick to give yourself in basically makes you worthless, right? You can't just always listen. You can't just give in to demands of the other party, because if you just give in to everything, then what value do you have, right? You need to really drive your own value up so that you are something that people want to have, right? I think that I'm not sure if I can get my point across clearly here, but I think in the end, Parisha would probably just help if she thinks that this is going to make for a very interesting kind of situation, right? So that one is more on the wacky side, but I think he'll get there. Subaru will get there eventually. And then Anastasia, right? The realist of the group, if we will. So she's definitely interested in money and information, so perhaps that is something that Subaru will be able to sell her. Obviously not money, but like maybe some sort of lead or some sort of opportunity for her that would justify her time spent on this situation, right? Like, I don't know, just throwing some things out there. Perhaps Otto's batch of oil, that might be something. Or perhaps information on the other candidates, even though, you know, nobody ever said that that Subaru was supposed to keep these things a secret, right? So, you know, that could also be a bargaining chip, if you will. And I think the best thing about Anastasia here is actually that she was the most helpful out of all of them. And I'm not talking about the carriage there. That is the least valuable piece of information that we got out of Anastasia. She basically directly told Subaru what he should be doing whilst he's doing these negotiations, right? You need to know, you know, what exactly the other party wants. You need to understand that negotiation is a give and take situation. You can't just, you know, want things from the other side. You need to know what exactly it is that they value and desire, etc., etc. And so, you know, if Subaru was able to take these lessons to heart, I'm sure he will be of great use in the future. Alright, and so what else do we have here? The White Whale, and I mean, I can't really say anything about that. It's the only thing that I'm convinced of is that Wilhelm is definitely going to be of importance in that particular battle, that particular trial. However, Subaru is going to overcome that in the end, right? I think the fact that in the last episode, Wilhelm kind of gave like a gleam from his eye when they were talking about it definitely makes me think that the Master Swordswoman that was part of the story in this episode is somewhat related with Wilhelm, and so he might be he's probably one of the key persons, right? The key man here in order to solve that situation. We have this Flugels tree, or whatever you want to call it, this weird pronunciation. I mean, right now, I don't know, is it not related to the White Whale somehow? Let's assume it's not for the moment. However, I think one thing to take note of is in the opening we do see that tree there, right? We see Emilia beneath that tree with all those hands reaching out towards her, and then Subaru running towards her. So definitely there's something significant about that tree as well. But I'm sorry, I really have no clue right now because there's not enough information. But yeah, anyways, in the next episode, well, I guess Puck is going to get angry at Subaru. And let's just see when Subaru dies, right? Because obviously he's going to have to reset the situation somehow, but hopefully he can actually keep an eye, keep his five senses about him, and really soak in all the information and to allow him to go forward, right? I know it might be asking a lot of him, but come on. You gotta step it up, Subaru. Alright, that's it for episode 9 of ReZero. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys next time.